Victor Wembanyama, Wemby, drafted with the number 1 overall pick last year by the San Antonio Spurs, along with being the most hyped up prospect since LeBron James. From the jump, all eyes were on him. And throughout the season, the French native showed us that all the hype was worth it. The Rookie of the Year would have multiple double-double games and even showing us a glimpse and potentially quadruple-double game in the near future. Although the young talent was balling, we still could have seen more. With the slight minutes restriction and the fact that his teammates would not look to give him the ball sometimes, it's safe to say they might not like all the spotlight on the young blood. The team will go on to win only 22 games and go on to draft UConn guard Stephon Castle and pick up future Hall of Famer point guard Chris Paul. So now, with new pieces who will look the brother of the ball, it's time to talk about what will Wemby give us his sophomore season. Will it be a dominant second year or a repeat of last year? But before we answer that question, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like and comment your thoughts, and turn those notifications on as we have much NBA content to give you guys. So Mal, what do you expect to see Wemby's sophomore season?
Yeah, man, there's been a lot of talk about Victor Wembanyama, and it's expected. I'm not expecting a major leap in production. I do think, of course, he will improve and he will be better than he was last year. He was the Rookie of the Year last year, but I feel like he's been gaining a lot of hype and attention, and people are just kind of setting the bar extremely too high. If you've seen the title of this video, I do not think that he's on the GOAT trajectory, and I think that is scaling it a little too far as of now. I think he's a fine player. A lot of the acclaim is coming from his stature, his height. He uses that to his advantage. I do think that at times with his frame, he spends a little too much time on the perimeter, and I think that throughout the course of his career, that is still my biggest concern. I feel like the concerns are still the concerns, and what people like to see is what they're projecting over the duration of his career. To say that somebody is on a GOAT trajectory when they've only played one season is saying a lot, especially with all of the glaring flaws that stand out, whether it's with his stature. So can he maintain his health? We've seen that with a lot of great players over their career. Like what's happening with the Joel Embiids and the Kawhi Leonards. So health is going to be, look at how they were managing him in his rookie season. You got a rookie who's only averaging 30 minutes a game. Like, come on now. So they understand what they have, and they're monitoring it with kid gloves. I would like to see a whole lot more. He is 7'5" and he averaged 10 rebounds a game. So I would like to see those improve. So my thing is, I want to ask the crew, as well as people that are watching this video, what their expectations for Wemby are. He averaged 21 points and 10 rebounds last year. I'm expecting that to maybe get to 23, 24. I think that with a point guard like Chris Paul, though he's not in his prime at all, he does understand how to get Victor the ball. So I think that's going to help his game tremendously. The fact that he will have a player with experience that knows his role, he will have that working in his favor, because last year we know that he didn't have that. He had some very young teams, so they had a lot of bad guys on that team that didn't know how to get him the ball and probably didn't even want to give him the ball, even though he's clearly the best player and the best talent on that team. I'm expecting for him to improve. I'm not saying GOAT. So can he potentially make the all-star team? Maybe. I think that's what the bar should be. Can he make an all-star team in his second season? But the way that some niggas is talking, and they got him ranked top 10 in these player rankings, I think we need to pump the brakes on that. His defense is a tad bit overrated. I know my brother CJ will get into those a little bit more. Yeah, man, I think that what is going to ramp up is his marketability, his hype, his traction as a future face of the league. That will grow, because the expectations have been pretty ridiculous, but it seems that everybody is on board that this guy is it. So we shall see, man. I think that he is getting more comfortable with the game. I think that goes to show a lot about this NBA landscape. He's very, very comfortable, but there are still things that he needs to improve upon. I think he has great work ethic as well, so that's going to help in his favor. But Jay, the man is 200 pounds, dog. Like, we need to see certain things if we're going to put this guy in certain talks. That's all I got to say. The people that are telling me he's on the GOAT trajectory are not buying what you're selling. You got to try a little bit harder.
Yeah, this may be a hot take to many. Not to me though. I think Victor Wembanyama is actually an overrated prospect. I thought he was kind of overrated coming from overseas in France. I did think he was worthy of being number one overall, but the hype is like, this guy's a generational talent, which I will say this, NBA fans actually use generational talent in a better way than NFL fans, because NFL fans just throw that shit around. Like Trevor Lawrence is generational, like what? But he's a generational talent, but that doesn't mean that he's going to be like the greatest of all. Because like, here's how I look at it. Like I can say Shaq is a generational talent, but Shaq, to me, never really had a GOAT argument or GOAT case throughout his career. That's kind of how I see it with Wemby. Like, I think Wemby will be a really fine player. Next season, I do expect him to average 25, 10. Of course, he's going to get like 3 blocks. His stocks are going to be really high. But Wemby, like Miles said, is a very overrated defender. If you really look at it from a technical standpoint, there's a lot of lapses that he has. He's not really that coordinated. He really does depend on his length, like for rim protection. And I'm not even talking about shot blocking, for rim protection. Many people told me he was the best defender in the league. I was like, huh? Like, he's not better than Bam. I would possibly put Drew Holiday above him as a defender. Even though Drew Holiday isn't as impactful as a defender, I'll put him over Wemby. Like, he guards his position better than Wemby does. It's crazy. And then the fact that many people are like, yo, this guy's generational on the defensive side. I'm like, okay, well, like, he's a great shot blocker, like generational shot blocker, but what else does he do? Like, what else does he do? Does he guard the pick and roll well? No, he just plays drop coverage. Does he switch? No, he doesn't switch. Is he really that good in the post? I don't think so. Like, Embiid had a game where they played against San Antonio Spurs, and this is the game Embiid put up 70 points. I think like 20 of them were like on Wemby. Many people are wondering like why Wemby wasn't on him. Nigga, you know why he wasn't on him, because he couldn't guard Embiid. Like, so like, what's the point of putting him on him? So I think he's very overrated, but Chris Paul would definitely hone his skills. Chris Paul has had a high success rate in developing these young stars. SGA, a lot of these guys, Devin Booker, like these guys gotten better after Chris Paul has played with them. And Chris Paul, whether we like to admit it or not, now with the Warriors it didn't happen, but he has made basically every team he's played on a pretty good team besides the Warriors. And we know he's getting up there in age. He's clearly lost a step, can't blow by a man, but I think he's still a solid player. Definitely towards like mentoring like Stephon Castle and all those other guys. That Devin Shooter dude that they got, that nigga does not pass. So hopefully he'll like learn Chris Paul to like move the ball around. He can be like that JJ Redick role for that offense. But he needs to pass the fucking ball. Come on, man. You're not Michael Porter Jr., bro. You taking contested threes? Like, what are we doing? Like when you watch San Antonio Spurs games last year, nobody was passing the rock. Wemby wasn't passing it. Nobody else was passing it to him. Everybody else just thought that they was the star. They was the number one overall pick, and it was like terrible to watch. And I think this team was coached by Popovich. Like, did they learn anything from getting coached by Greg Popovich, one of the greatest coaches of all time? That team was a joke last year. It was a joke. So hopefully they rebound this year. I'm looking forward to seeing Wemby play. I know he gained some muscle this offseason, and he's always going to be a slight frame. I think he's around 220 now. So he is getting a bit bigger. I do want to see Wemby get towards like 240. If Wemby gets towards 240, I think he'll be like very, very difficult, like, to handle. But you look at all these ESPN outlets, like ESPN did like top 100. This dude's over Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, like all these guys. Like, he's number 11, and people are telling me he's the third best center in the league right now. Like, he's not even better than AD. Like, why are we jumping the goalpost? Like, do people really believe that they will take, like, currently right now, Victor Wembanyama over Anthony Davis with a straight face? Anthony Davis, in my opinion, is a better defender than him too, and he's better offensively. So what is really the argument? Like, it's pointless, man. But the San Antonio Spurs, they do have a future. I don't know if the future's that bright. I want to see San Antonio get around 35 to 40 games. I think they can be in like a Houston Rockets spot that Houston was last year. I just think Wemby's overrated. It's overhyped prospect. I don't think this guy's going to be the GOAT. I think Wemby, like his trajectory is like top 10, but I don't think it's like GOAT. Hopefully he develops his game more. I would like to see him score inside the paint a bit more. Like, taking the jump shots. It's like, come on, bro. You can basically just capture post position on somebody and just lay their ass in the goal. His body is so lanky. Like, he literally moves like Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four, and he just dunks the ball. Like, just do that every play. And Chris Paul will give you the rock. So there's no excuses this year.
Wemby, all eyes will be on him. The San Antonio Spurs, I don't really see much of a jump from last year. Hopefully they kind of push for that like 10 seed, maybe. That's really about it going for them. Like I said in the intro, they had a whole bunch of guards that really didn't want to give Wemby the ball. We had like Jeremy Sohan, even though he's not really a guard, the fake Dennis Rodman. I don't know who the word he thought he was last season, and he wouldn't give Wemby the ball. Evan Pascal, he got the mentality of Michael Porter Jr. Anyways, with Wemby, we did see a lot of great potential things from him, but we did see some things that he needs to improve on. And as far as being a great defender, I don't know if he's necessarily that. I mean, he has the height. I mean, he's 7'3", so it's pretty easy to block all these shots. And he was having, 5 steals, 5 blocks multiple times throughout the season. But as far as like Anthony Davis, Giannis, Bam, all these defenders, like, I don't think Wemby is better than them already. And speaking of, how he's been hyped so far, I saw ESPN's list of the top 100 players going into this season, and 1 through 20, Wemby's already 11. You telling me Wemby's better than, Jalen Brunson, John Morant, all these guys who have actually accumulated things throughout their career. And this dude's only played 1 season. Now, I get it. This list was definitely based off potential. Like, come on now. He's not a better defender than AD, and he's ranked higher than AD. I mean, what are we doing? And as far as the GOAT trajectory, I don't know, man. Even if that's the case, the team is going to have to, put pieces around him. Rings are part of the GOAT talk. When you got guys like Shaq, Hakeem, Kareem, all these guys, they won rings, they won Defensive Player of the Years, all these things. If Wemby's going to be a part of that GOAT talk, he's going to have pieces around him to do these things. He can put up all these stats, but those accolades, even though a lot of people, some of them don't want to throw that in there, that's part of the GOAT talks. You're going to have to deal with it. That's part of the GOAT talks. So as far as his sophomore season, I do see an improvement. I can see him averaging about 25 and 11, 3 to 4 blocks and steals a game. Hopefully, he improves on the shooting a bit and takes some of his time away from the perimeter. Because as I was watching his rookie season, I'm just seeing this 7'3" dude, sit at the perimeter. I'm like, dog, you 7'3". You really don't got to jump that much in the paint. Like Caleb said, he's getting bigger. So hopefully we see more improvement in the paint for him, because you 7'3", and you got the generational talent or the hype of LeBron James. So people are going to be gunning for you. And you're going to have to, for now, let's kind of chill on the GOAT stuff. We can say great. We can say he's going to be on a great trajectory. I'll be fine with that. We can say he's on a great trajectory right now. Definitely interested to see how his sophomore season goes, and the way he's kind of been hyped ever since his rookie season, like with the whole new alien logo and stuff. It's kind of looking like the NBA wants to market him as the face of the league, which I think is a little crazy when you got, JT, Ant, all these guys, and we want to already market, the rookie there, which is fine. That's your young talent. That's your future. So it's definitely where it's looking like the NBA is looking towards, and I can't wait to see the brother hoop.
Yeah, I gotta make a few comments, and CJJ, feel free to butt in whenever you want to. This can be open dialogue. When we talk about GOAT, I think the problem with the whole Wemby GOAT situation is that people aren't really evaluating what he's done. They're projecting, and I think a lot of people play NBA 2K extremely too much. This is not create a player. So it's like, I got this 7'5" guy. I'm gonna call him 7'5". He's damn near 7'5". He the tallest player in the league. So you got this 7'5" guy who can shoot the 3, can dribble a little bit, and that's pretty much a creative player. So people are saying that this guy can be the GOAT. But we all know that in basketball, it's not realistic. As Jalen said, you're going to have championships. I think now when you have a lot of hype and you have a lot of PR, you can actually have fewer championships than guys preceding you. So Wemby could probably get like maybe 4. If he has 4 championships and he has a bunch of accolades, people will probably call him the GOAT. So you're going to need championships. You're going to need accolades. So that means all NBA teams, multi MVPs. You're going to have longevity. So with the counting numbers, you're going to have to be top 5, top 10 in several statistics. Because when you're a big, you got to be probably top 10 in points at least, top 10 in rebounds, top 10 in blocks. He's going to have to do that. So this is a good start, as Jalen said, 21 points, 3.6 blocks, 10 rebounds. It's a great start, but so many things have to go right for him to even enter these talks. When we compare him to somebody like Luka Doncic's rookie season, he averaged 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. This is a forward/guard. And the year after that, he averaged nearly 29 points per game, 27, 28, 32, 33. These are his stats to start his season. But is anybody saying that Luka Doncic is on a GOAT trajectory? You see what I'm saying? Just because we like somebody doesn't mean that we can start saying that they're going to be this. And if people say, oh, let's pump the brakes on that, then they're deemed and classified as a hater. We get it. If you're playing NBA 2K, yeah, Wemby should be the GOAT. but this is basketball. And I want to see how he impacts winning moving forward. Because yes, he has all the skill set, but as a big, I don't want to see, like, you're 7'5", please use your size. Use your size. Because I remember going into the draft, his trainer was saying, oh, we're not going to put weight on him. No, he needs to have weight. He needs to add weight. Because if you're 7'5", and you're going to be on the perimeter all day, you're 7'5" for what? You are going to have to use your height as a big. Bigs need to be able to dominate inside out. Like, we look at bigs that can shoot the three. That's a secondary function for them in terms of their scoring, them being a scoring threat. Wemby is going to have to dominate in the paint. If Wemby cannot dominate in the paint, projecting through his career, he will not be a GOAT. He will not be, because if we look at some of the greatest power forwards / bigs, centers to ever play the game, can we evaluate Wemby and say that based on who he is right now and compare him to a KG? KG is a better offensive player and a better defensive player, but nobody would have ever said that KG was on a GOAT trajectory. People are just looking at these skills and, oh, he can do this and he can do that. And that puts him on the GOAT trajectory, when, as Jalen said, that's not how things work. He's going to have to do a whole lot more for me to get on that bandwagon, because I just see a very, very lanky guy. He's really, really tall, so he can get away with a lot of shit. But there are a lot of gaps in his game that need to be developed before we start talking about GOAT.